Monte Vista School. A little bit different from how I remembered it as a child. I used to live right here across the street. Do you see where you could kind of see that divider? So this house was up on the hill, and the home that is currently right here was not a home that was there. It was a different home. But right from that property lines right there of those fences, there used to be a little 2-bedroom house, and it had a back garage to it. Big, huge property. It was really nice. The only thing was, when we first moved in, I think I was about 12 years old, maybe 13 years old. And I remember going to sleep the first few nights. I experienced a lot of paranormal in that home. So much paranormal that I really couldn't sleep. Those apartments are still there. Like I said, this house is still there. But the only thing that's different, the corner home, that still looks like the same home. The only thing that's different was our next door neighbor and the house that we lived in are now 2 brand new homes. The landlord at the time was this little widow, and my mother was saying, we're gonna move into another house where it's haunted, but I'm gonna go ahead and cleanse it and get rid of the spirits. My mother always moved us into homes like that, and we were constantly moving. Once it was cleaned out and the house was ready to go, it was time to move. She was very smart at things like that. So, of course, I started to hear things, see things here at the school. The rest of the yard is still the same. I do not remember those little bungalows there. Those were not there. Those little rooms right there. These picnic tables and this unique awning were not there. And what I started to see was swings moving when I was a little kid. The swings that were moving, there used to be swings all in this entire parking lot right here. Was a little teeny tiny swings. See, from where I used to live across the street, and right about here, this is where the little swings used to be. Like right where you see that playground area. Of course, that little playground was a little bit more different, but there used to be swings all right here when I was a little tiny kid. And I would see those swings moving and little kids laughing in the middle of the night. And I was just a little bit shocked about it, like, what is happening here with these swings? The ramps are still the same to go to the classrooms, I can see. But like I said, this was all grass. This entire parking lot was pure grass. Then I started to get dreams of odd mud floods. And I also started to get dreams of coffins, caskets, however you would like to say those. But they looked like coffins, not really a modernized casket. And they were coming up out of the ground, and the bodies were looking like zombies because they started to talk. And these particular zombies were telling me, help me, get us out of here. We are tired of being trapped here. I went up to a teacher. I was half asleep, and I said, teacher, do you think that maybe I could go to sleep and skip recess? He said, why? I said, because I did not get too much sleep last night. I live across the street because I did come here as a child. And the teacher said, well, what did you dream of? I said, you know what? You're going to call me crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you. So I went ahead and told the teacher what I was dreaming. And that's when the teacher took me to the principal's office and took me in to speak to some of the staff. That's when the staff told me that this used to be a cemetery and that Mr. and Mrs. Graves were the ones that owned this particular cemetery. They started to tell me some more things about the area. Again, that's the property I used to live on, my next door neighbor. And they started to tell me about a lot of things that were happening, that were paranormal, of course. This building is still abandoned. That's amazing. I cannot believe that. I haven't been over here. I'm going to be 48 this fall, and I have not been over here since I was about 14 years old. And this building is still abandoned. There was a lot of spirits that used to come in and out of that building. This is still abandoned. That's new. That was my neighbor, and of course, like I said, that was me. And I just remember getting out of my window in the middle of the night as a little kid and just looking outside to see so many spirits traveling from this corner. And I'd see them traveling up here, traveling into the different homes, traveling down this street. And as a little young teenager, 12, 13, 14 years old, I would be walking in the middle of the night. My mother was so out, everybody was asleep, and I just remember traveling and talking to all the spirits and looking at all the particular spirits. And then I would sneak back in my window. But that is absolutely amazing that this property is still abandoned after this entire time. One thing I would like to do is one day maybe come back to the school, because the auditorium at the very top of the school is definitely haunted. I know that for a fact. Nobody would want to go up there. Not a single staff member at the time, not a single student. Just me and one other student went up there to put things back and to take things down, but everybody told me that I was brave. Yeah, this is still abandoned. This is still looking like the same. Wow. Yeah, I could still see those same ghosts in there. Wild. But my neighbor that used to live here was an older gentleman, and he had cats, and he had a little dog. His dog was really cute. He was a cool guy, real chill. He didn't really say anything about all of us kids playing and getting out of control. Oh wow, yeah, that's so different. Still has, this little fence was not here, but it's about, no, it's very different. The structure is very different. I could feel that the widow's husband spirit is gone. I don't feel it there anymore. That property is still there. Amazing. When I was 14 years old, I started to read on my own. I started to read different students. A lot of them paid me their lunch money or gave me their lunch tickets, of course. I thought that was really cool that they did that. Yep, I would just see all the spirits traveling up super, super high, going into these homes, walking all the way down the street. And I used to talk to them all the time. All the time. Oh, it still smells like cigars. This home still smells like cigars. 2406 New Avenue, Rosemead, California. And it was every single home. Every single home. I do remember every single home would have some kind of spirit and paranormal activity happening, all in the middle of the night. These trees are still here. They are the original trees. But it was just a trip, learning from all the staff members that it used to be a cemetery. And I would see ghost kids running in all the classrooms. I would see old teacher spirits, old staff member spirits. And everybody at the school kind of knew me as like the child medium. And everybody always trusted me to take items up into the auditorium. And there is the front of the school, Monterey Vista School. And there is the top of that theater. There's an attic up there. And that attic, that's the most haunted location in this entire place. I don't know if there's still bodies in this ground. As you could tell, I'm on the other side of the school, where there's that back portion. There's the rest of the school here. It's still the same from when I was a kid. The entire front of the school. It's still the same. I've been to numerous schools as a kid, and every single one of them had their own individual ghost, had their own paranormal activities, had their own ghost stories. But this one, that takes the cake. You ever want to know something really haunted over here in this part of what's this, Monterey Park? It has to be that auditorium. I could still see those ghosts till this day. I could see them smiling at me. They were always very nice to me. They would even apologize if they moved something and we were up there putting things away. Because this used to be an auditorium. Then it turned into a front office. Oh, cute little bluebird just all of a sudden right there. Hi, little bluebirds. Oh, how cute. One thing when I was a child that I really didn't notice, of course, when you get dropped off at school, you don't really pay attention to streets and street names all too much. But as I got to be an older kid and I would come down, you know, you start to take a look at things. I was told Mr. and Mrs. Graves, right? Graves Avenue. Let that set in.